Members, it is time to make a start. We have attained the quorum. I now call the meeting to order. Item 1, confirmation of minutes of meeting. Minutes of the 27th meeting held on June the 16th. The minutes have been made available to members before the meeting, and no comments have been received on the minutes. Can I take the minutes as read? All right. Item 2, matters arising, meeting with the CS. There is nothing in particular to report to members. Item 3, business arising from previous council meetings. A, Legal Service Division reports on bills referred to the House Committee in accordance with Rule 54.4. 1, Dutiable Commodities Amendment Bill 2017. Legal Advisor, please. LS 81. Madam Chair, thank you. The bill seeks to amend the Dutiable Commodities Ordinance and the Dutiable Commodities Liquor Regulations to prohibit the sale of intoxicating liquor from vending machines and to minors, including the face-to-face and remote means. And there are new offences and defences are also provided in the bill. This is about the new provisions regarding the sale of liquor. I get the feeling that members might be interested in a Bills Committee. Mr. Shiu, you propose a Bills Committee. Yes, BC, proposed by Mr. Shiu. Any member wishing to join? There will be further circulation to members. 2, Private Healthcare Facilities Bill. Legal Advisor LS 82, please. Madam Chair, this is a new bill to provide for a new regulatory regime for hospitals, day procedure centers, clinics, and health services and establishments. And this, if enacted, will replace the existing regulatory frameworks under the Hospitals, Nursing Homes, and Maternity Homes Registration Ordinance and the Medical Clinics Ordinance. This is an entirely new regulatory framework, and members might wish to set up a Bills Committee. Mr. Shu Ka-fai and Dr. Pierre Chen propose a Bills Committee. Any member wishing to join? All right, there will be further circulation. B, Legal Service Division report on subsidiary legislation gazetted on June the 16th and tabled in Council on June the 21st. Legal Advisor, please, LS 83. Madam Chair, there are 4 items of subsidiary legislation. The first one is Pension Benefits Ordinance established Officers Amendment Order 2017. This is to amend Schedules 1 and 2 to the main ordinance to provide 2 posts. The new civil service 2 posts, 1 new service rank, Deputy Government Economist and the Hospital Authority. And these have become the established posts in May. All right. SC. No, Legal Advisor, please. Item 2. The second item is Rules of the High Court Amendment Rules 2017. This is to amend the principal ordinance in connection with leave for appeal. The time limit will be extended. And there is a proposal to abolish the anonymity of the identity of the lawyers in relation to appeal, and this goes into effect on December 1st, 2017. Tanya Chen proposes a subcommittee and a member wishing to join. Mr. Holden Chow wishes to join. Legal advisor, please. Declaration of increase in pensions notice 2017 and widows and orphans pension increase notice 2017. And this is to announce that with effect from the 1st of April 2017, the basic pensions for ex-officers and dependents and also for widows and orphans, there will be an increase of 2.1%. This is in line with the CPIA. All right, SC. If not, just a reminder that for amendments, the deadline is the second meeting in the next legislative year. If extended, then the second, or 21 days after the second meeting of the new legislative year. Item 4, further business arise for council meeting of June the 28th. Members, please note that there are items that are outstanding from the previous meeting, and they will stand over to the next meeting. Tabling of papers. Report number 22/16 to 17 on subsidiary legislation and other instruments. There are 3 items. The period for amendment will expire at the council meeting of June the 28th. No members indicated any interest to speak. B. Questions. Mr. Jonathan Ho has given up on his oral question, and the time has been given to Mr. Ben Chen. C. Bills resumption of second reading, or Bills first reading. The Anti-Money Laundering and Counter-Terrorist Financing Financial Institution Amendment Bill 2017, 2. Inland Revenue Amendment Number 4 Bill, and 3. Companies Amendment Bill 2017. Last evening, the administration gave the notice that those 3 items will be introduced on the 28th of June. And we will deal with these at the House Committee on the 7th of July, so that the Legal Service Division will have sufficient time to look into these. Bill resumption on second reading and third reading, Road Traffic Amendment Bill 2017. At the House Committee on June the 16th, members raised no objection to these being given the second reading resumption. 5. Chief Executive question and answer session. This on the 5th of July. This will take place between 9 and 10:30. The 5th Chief Executive will be attending the meeting. Business for Council meeting of July 5th. Questions. There are 22 questions, 6 oral and 16 written questions. B. Bill first and second reading. No notice has been received. C. Government motion. Proposed resolution to be moved by the SEN under Section 44 of the Product Eco-Responsibility Ordinance, Cap 603, and Section 35 of the Interpretation and General Clauses Ordinance, Cap 1. The wording of the proposed resolution has been issued with the LC paper dated June the 21st. D. Members' Bill, resumption of debate on second reading, committee stage and third reading. Bank of Communications Hong Kong Limited Merger Bill. At our House Committee on June the 16th, members made no comments on the resumption debate on that day. Members' motions. There are 2 items, non-binding motions outstanding from the meeting on the 21st, and they will stand over to the subsequent meetings. And they include 2 motions, that is Mr. Jimmy Ng's motion establishing a comprehensive reindustrialization policy regime, and Mr. Jonathan Ho's motion conducting a comprehensive review of labour legislation to improve labour rights and interests. And they will take place on the 5th of July. And the deadline for amendment is 27th of June, a Tuesday. Reports on subsidiary legislation. There are 3 items that have been tabled before members. If members wish to speak, please give the notice to the Secretary before the 27th of June. Reports of Bills Committee and Subcommittees. A. Report of Bills Committee on Stamp Duty Amendment Bill 2017 and Stamp Duty Amendment Number 2 Bill 2017. I call upon Mr. Wong Ting Fong, Chairman of the Committee, to speak. Madam Chair, the purpose of the Stamp Duty Amendment Bill 2017 is to amend the Stamp Duty Ordinance to implement the new round demand-side management measures announced on the 4th of November 2016. That is, to introduce a new flat rate of 15% for ad valorem duty chargeable on residential property transaction in lieu of the DSD rates. We've held 6 meetings and received deputations. The main issues discussed include effectiveness of demand-side management, the exemption arrangements under the new residential stamp duty regime, persons liable to pay new residential stamp duty, the date of execution of instruments, and applicable ad valorem stamp duty rates for exchange of properties. To address public concerns about acquiring multiple properties under a single instrument, the administration has introduced a new bill, i.e. the Stamp Duty Amendment Number 2 Bill, to implement the tightened exemption arrangement under the scheme to prevent local buyers from making use of the exemption to evade the payment of new residential stamp duty. Mr. James To indicated his intention to move CSAs, and the Bills Committee did have some discussion on the proposal. All the details are set out in the report. The administration will be moving CSAs, to which the Bills Committee will not raise an objection. However, the Bills Committee will not move any CSAs. The Bills Committee has no objection to the resumption of second reading debate on the 12th July 2017. The details of the discussion are set out in the report. Thanks very much.
I'll invite Mr. Houghton Chow to report on the work of the Bills Committee on Apology Bill. The purpose of this apology bill is to set out the legal consequences of apology in civil proceedings, so as to encourage the making of suitable apologies to promote mediation. The Bills Committee held 6 meetings, including one to listen to views from deputation individuals. The members, deputation individuals, all agreed to support the legislative intent and policies on the apology bill. Members are concerned that the general public will not understanding, once this is enacted as law, how people's rights will be protected or affected. Therefore, the Bills Committee asked the government to step up public education and publicity after its passage to help the general public understand the contents and the implications. The administration has promised to organize suitable public education activities after its passage, including the publication of pamphlets and organizing public forums. In addition, in response to members and our legal advisors' comments, the administration proposes to move to CSAs. First, to explicitly exclude the application of the apology bill to the Legislative Council proceedings. According to the Legal Services Department, once the CSA is passed, then the committees, panels, and subcommittees proceedings of this council will be excluded from the application of the bill, so that as long as members are complied with the relevant rules of procedure, they can continue to refer to the apology in their speeches, questions, motions, and the motion debates, so as to take that into account. We have informed all members of this proposed CSA, and we have so far not received any objection from members. The second amendment is in respect of Clause 8, Bracket 2 of the bill. The administration notes members' serious concern about Clause 8, Bracket 2, in that under special circumstances, the tribunal of fact can exercise a discretionary power to accept the material mentioned in the apology as evidence. To alleviate members' concerns, the administration would specify in Bill 8, Bracket 2, that under special circumstances, and for example, there's no other evidence to adjudicate on the relevant facts, the adjudicator authority must have regard to public interest and the principle of justice before exercise such a discretion and accept the facts stated as evidence. The Bills Committee agrees to the two proposed CSAs, and it will not move any CSA. The Bills Committee also do not object to the resumption of a second reading on the 12th of July. A written report will be submitted later. May I remind members that if you want to move amendments to the bill, the deadline for moving your amendments is the 3rd of July, Monday. Report of the Subcommittee on Financial Institutions Resolution, Protected Arrangement, Regulation of Financial Institutions, Resolution Ordinance, Commencement Notice 2017. May I invite Mr. Chan Chun-ying, Chairman of the Subcommittee, to make a verbal report. Thank you, Chairman. The purpose of the Financial Institution Resolution Ordinance Commencement Notice 2017 is to specify the 7th of July as the commencement date of the ordinance. The ordinance stipulates that certain rules are to be observed by the resolution authority when exercising its powers, and also to protect certain economic rights under certain financial arrangements. The subcommittee held two meetings for some discussion with the administration on the two items. The subcommittee did not object to the two items, and there will be no amendments from the subcommittee. In our discussion, some members are concerned that when the M8 transferred assets from non-viable banks to another organization, how the deposit can be will continue to be protected by the deposit of Deposit Protection Scheme Ordinance. According to the government, under the Banking Ordinance, Section 12, Bracket 1, it stipulates that no one can accept deposits or operate a deposit-taking business unless it's licensed under Section 12. And under Section 12, Bracket 6 of the Banking Ordinance, any entity in violation of this restriction commits an offense. And also the MA would act in accordance with the provisions in the ordinance and will not transfer deposit to a non-AI. But Mr. James Toh is concerned that there is no clear stipulation that when the resolution authority transfer the deposits, they must transfer the deposit to one which is recognized, to an AI which is recognized by the Banking Ordinance and which is covered by the Deposit Protection Scheme, and also the acceptance of transfer of deposit is not equivalent to the taking of deposits. Therefore, Section 12.1 and 12.6 and Bracket 6 may not be applicable. Furthermore, under Section 13.1 of the Banking Ordinance, the FS has a discretionary power to disapply Section 12.1. Therefore, MA can still transfer the deposits to non-AI, and such deposit will not continue to be protected by the Deposit Protection Scheme. To alleviate members and deposit account holders' concerns, the subcommittee has asked the government to make certain undertakings. First, the resolution authority will not transfer deposits to a non-authorized institution as defined under the banking ordinance, and there should be clear stipulations that in the resolution procedure there will be no exemption granted under Section 13(1) of banking ordinance, and also in amending relevant provisions, the above concerns should be responded to. The administration recognized that Section 12(1) and bracket 6 applies to deposit-taking business under the banking ordinance, and clearly stated under the resolution ordinance, the deposit will be covered. The deposit to be transferred will be covered. As for the concern with regard to Section 13(1) of the banking ordinance, the administration pointed out that the MA, from the point of view of the resolution authority, has no policy intent to offer the exemption to the procedure, and it would be stipulated that in amending the resolution ordinance, there would be the position of the government will be more clearly reflected. To address members' concerns, the administration promises that in moving at the meeting on the 5th of July, that there will be the restatement of that position and promises under Rule 49E2 of the Rules of Procedure. We'll submit a written report later. May I remind members that the deadline for proposing amendments is the 27th of June, Tuesday. Report of the Subcommittee on Energy Efficiency Labeling of Products Ordinance, Amendment of Schedule 1 Order 2017. May I invite Mr. Wong Ting Kwong to make a report? Thank you. The purpose of the Energy Efficiency Labeling of Products Ordinance, Amendment of Schedule 1 Order 2017 is to amend the Part 1 of Schedule 1 of Energy Efficiency Labeling of Products Ordinance in order to cover television, storage type, electric water heaters, induction cookers, and room air conditioner of a reverse cycle type, i.e. with heating and cooling functions, and washing machines with a rated washing capacity exceeding 7 kilograms but not exceeding 10 kilograms in the specified list of products covered by the energy efficiency scheme, so as to implement the third stage of a mandatory energy efficiency labeling scheme. The subcommittee held a meeting to discuss with the administration the scope of the order. Our discussion are mainly about the definition of the products to be covered, the energy efficiency to be tested, and the standards to be applied, as well as the scope of the ordinance, as well, and also the transitional arrangement and consultation for the first stage of the implementation. Details can be found in the written report. The subcommittee notes that there will be another items of subsidiary legislation to be tabled to specify the details of the energy labeling labels required. After the scrutiny of that item of subsidiary legislation, there will be a gazette notice to specify the commencement date of the first stage. We will not move any amendments, and we support to move the resolution by the administration on the 12th of July. May I remind members that the deadline for moving amendments to this order is the 5th of July, Wednesday. Position of Bills Committee and Subcommittees. Please note that as at the 22nd of June 2024, we have 4 Bills Committee and in progress, and 13 subcommittees under the House Committee, and 5 subcommittees under the panels. And there are 8 subcommittees on the waiting list. establishment of the investigation committee under Rule 49B(2)(a) of the Rules of Procedure in respect of the motion to censure Holden Chow Ho Ting. Paragraph 5 of the paper set out the recommendations of the investigation committee. 1, there's no need to set up a subcommittee to prepare for the work of the investigation committee, and the relevant investigation committee should adopt the procedure in Annex 2 of the paper, which will be the same as those adopted for another investigation committee endorsed by the House Committee on the 6th of January 2017, and that is we'll use the electronic voting system for the voting procedure. And also members will appoint the members, will elect the members to serve on the committee on the 7th of July at the House Committee. Ms. Claudia Mo, we are talking about the alleged collusion between Mr. Holden Chow and Mr. Siwa Leung. And in respect of the number of members, I understand the usual practice is 13. We have 13. So are we going to follow the same practice? And also, secondly, sorry, Ms. Mo, Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, any point of order? Well, you talk about the collusion secretly with someone, but I don't see anything about this. And she starts to talk about some secret collusion even before the investigation committee has been set up. Well, Ms. Mo, I think you have already mentioned these points. Mr. Wong Ting Kwong, there's no need to be emotional. The second question is if the chairperson can elaborate that as one of the mover and also 3 other movers from the pandemic, they are not allowed to participate in the election for the investigation membership. Well, actually under Rule 73(A) of the Rules of Procedure, the mover and also the co-signatories to move the motion are not eligible to stand as members. I just want you to state it again. Well, it's already in the paper, but I want you to do it for the benefit of those who are visually impaired. According to the Rule 49B(2)(a), there will be a notice given to members for nomination of candidates to join this investigation subcommittee.
Proposal of Dr. N. Cheung to seek the House Committee's agreement for asking an urgent oral question at the Council meeting of June the 28th on the collapse of the balcony of a tenement building in Hong Kong. 2 minutes, Dr. Cheung, and then I throw the floor open for other members. Now the question is whether we agree with Dr. Cheung that we should raise an urgent question. Dr. N. Cheung. Madam Chair, I'm sure a lot of members of the public are concerned that on June the 21st there was an old tenement building more than 60 years old. The balcony fell out in Kowloon City, Ma Tau, Wai Road. There was a similar incident that occurred. There was a collapse of a building, and there were casualties there. It is really lucky that nobody got injured. According to information in Hong Kong, there are 6,000 buildings, all buildings that are more than 50 years old. half of them have fallen into a state of disrepair. The former Secretary for Development wrote on the 2nd of November 2015 to confirm that there are so many buildings that have fallen into a state of disrepair, and these are more like ticking time bombs. This is filling people with a lot of anxieties. We count ourselves lucky that there were no casualties. If that incident occurred during the day, a lot of people might have been caught out, and it could have been very dangerous. Now, for these 2,000 what I call ticking time bombs in the urban area, I cannot be ignored. So I am suggesting an oral question. The rainy season is upon us, and even for yellow storm warning, people are living in constant fear. I have received a lot of letters in this regard from the members of the public. All right, your time is up. Dr. N. Cheung proposes an urgent oral question. Mr. Leung Kwok-hong, 1 minute. Other members might wish to press the button. I think Dr. N. Cheung has a point. This is urgent, and what we are proposing is not considered urgent. After that, this meeting, what do you think she is able to achieve? Mr. Leung, are you done with your remarks? I'd like to put this question to her. Now, no conversing between members. She would be given 1 minute in response. If she doesn't respond, I can respond on her behalf. So she has no clue what she's going to do next. Please, do not speak in your seat. I like the baby fund, the recent proposal. Mr. Leung, are you in favor or are you not in favor? The baby fund is really a source of trouble. It is a source of trouble indeed. Well, let her speak. Fine. Does any other member wish to speak on this item? Dr. Lau Xiaolai. Madam Chair, I go along with this proposal to put an urgent oral question. In Kowloon West, there are so many dilapidated old tenement buildings. I would like to find out more about the situation. As a result of this accident, I would like to be informed about the state of the buildings and what other information that we'd like to seek. Now, we've raised so many urgent questions before, but the pro-establishment members are saying that we don't have to jump the queue. I don't really want to exact a revenge here. I think we have to be fair. This is about public safety after all, so I would throw my support behind this proposal, and I hope that the pro-establishment members will not politicize anything in future. Ms. Andrew Wan, on behalf of the Democratic Party, we support these urgent oral questions. Members have already talked about the statistics. 7 years ago, there was a building collapse in To Kwa Wan. The risks are still there. There are so many 6,000 old tenement buildings that are more than 50 years old. I think this incident shows the lack of judgment and the execution of the law on the part of the Buildings Department. There is an urgent risk. I think we should count ourselves lucky that these are disasters. Luckily, no casualties were involved, and people managed to get away with it. In fact, the Buildings Department did conduct an inspection. People reported these to the authorities, and nothing happened. I support the question. Dr. Priscilla Leung, I speak in support of Dr. N. Cheung's proposal to put an urgent oral question regarding the balcony collapse in Hong Ham. In response to some Pandam members were not giving any political considerations to proposals. Now, I raised urgent questions in the aftermath of the Fa Yuen Street fire, the Tsim Sha Tsui blaze, I raised urgent questions, but none of them was approved. I get a feeling that only contagious disease would stand a better chance of being approved. I must say that for these serious livelihood diseases, they're not of a political nature. I think they should be given more chance. Ms. Cordiamo. Madam Chair, however, do I agree with Dr. N. Zhang? This is an exception this time. You don't have to give me this broad smile. There are always exceptions to the rule. We are not being personal. We're being issues-oriented. Now, her reasons are a little bit far-fetched, but still, I find this of an urgent nature. Some people get the feeling or misconception that only those who are living in old tenement buildings should be concerned. Mr. Andrew Wan talked about the building collapse. We don't really want any casualties. What about those who are walking down the street? Luckily, in this Hong Kong collapse, nobody was walking underneath. If you imagine that if this is happening in broad daylight, the consequences can be really ghastly. So there is an urgent need for that. Dr. N. Zhong, 1 minute in response, please. Madam Chair, you heard what members have to say. Ms. Cordiamo doesn't normally agree with me. Dr. Lau Salai, Ms. Cordiamo are in support this time, so obviously they all are in agreement that there is an urgency to this. So, Madam Chair, I hope that you would persuade the President that for urgent matters, consideration must be given to urgent question. Dr. Priscilla Leung, there is only for contagious diseases that approval would normally be granted. So, Madam Chair, I hope that you would have a word with the President and allow this urgent question. The opposition members, please keep quiet. Keep quiet. All right, I think we have had enough discussion. I noticed from those who spoke that they were in support of Dr. N. Zhang's proposal. Myself and the Secretariat, I would convey this to the President. I'm sure that he would take the decision in accordance with the rules of procedure. There are no AOB items. Meeting is now adjourned. Thank you all very much.